Hi everybody, a warm welcome to the webinar of Deutsche Telekom on NarrowBand IoT. Today I would like to answer some questions you probably have. Is NarrowBand IoT the right technology for connecting my devices or products? And is NarrowBand IoT available now, today? And finally, how can I get my hands on NarrowBand IoT so in order to try it out? I will answer these questions in this webinar. And at the end of the webinar, I will give you an outlook on the future plans of Deutsche Telekom on NarrowBand IoT. My name is Dominik Schnieders. I'm the program manager for NarrowBand IoT here at Deutsche Telekom. So first of all, the latest news, and they are good news. We launched NarrowBand IoT in June. So it's there for you. It's available. But it was not only us to launch NarrowBand IoT. On the Mobile World Congress in Shanghai, all three Chinese mobile operators announced that they launched NarrowBand IoT. Now, why is that important? Because IoT is in China one of the biggest markets, and NarrowBand IoT is a question of scales. So therefore, this day, end of June, was a good day for the NarrowBand IoT community. Now let's have a look at the agenda. After a short introduction, I would like to point out the basic characteristics of NarrowBand IoT. With that, you will be able to judge if NarrowBand IoT fits to your product. After that, I will go a little more in detail about our launch, the rollout plans, and also our office. Use cases make it very tangible. Therefore, we selected some use cases out of the big portfolio to show it to you and discuss the potentials of NarrowBand IoT. And in the end, I will give you the promised outlook on our future plans, and there will be a very important message. Now, we are all here because we all believe that Internet of Things is a forthcoming megatrend. When it happens, it will happen tremendously fast. But Gartner also says it's a revolution still to happen. Now, how can NarrowBand IoT contribute to that revolution? In order to give an answer on that, we talked to customers and asked them about their problems today. Now, first thing that they told us is battery lifetime of today's solutions of networks, that is not the right one for their IoT devices. And second, they said the coverage has to be improved because it's still too poor if you want to do indoor use cases. Very often, customers use subnetworks. So they are starting with managing small networks. They would prefer to have direct connectivity with their devices to our base stations in a network. And last but not least, one of the most important things, it's all a question about costs. Now, what is the answer of NarrowBand IoT on these topics? I will tell you about that now. Well, first of all, NarrowBand IoT is a network. It's a network standardized by 3GPP, and it was designed to connect simple things, IoT devices. When you talk about a network, of course, the first question will be data rates and data volume. Now, what could come into your mind? Of course, high speed. You talk about LTE, it's going up more and more. But I would like to give you a picture about NarrowBand IoT that's quite different from that one. It's more about small cars, and it's about mass volume business. And now, if you think about a typical IoT device, like a smart meter for water, then that meter reports once or twice a day about 50 bytes. Do you need LTE for that? Probably not. That is the reason why in standardization we chose only to support low data rates, a few hundred bits per second to 250 kilobits per second. Secondly, we only support low data volumes, a few bytes to 500 kilobytes per month. And third, it's only infrequent transmission. Now that sounds like a disadvantage, but indeed it's not, because with that we did one very important step. simplification. I will come back to that point later in the presentation. Second characteristic is the question about coverage and, as we heard before from the customer complaints, deep indoor penetration. Now, unfortunately, this is not my living room, but imagine you are standing in your living room holding your smartphone, and probably you will have signal there and you can make a phone call. But what about if you go into the basement? And I can tell you this is not my basement. Now, very probably you will lose your signal. You're not able to communicate with your smartphone today. But with NarrowBand IoT, you are very probable having a signal in your basement because it was designed for that by 3GPP to reach that areas through one more big wall or small walls. And that's achieved because the link budget improves about 20 dB, and for that reason we can have signal and coverage and deep indoor penetration. Most of the IoT devices are battery driven. So therefore battery lifetime is very, very important. Now NarrowBand IoT specified that we want to achieve up to 10 years of battery lifetime, okay, depending on the amount of data, depending on the amount of transmissions, and also on the signal strength. But the most important thing, it is very heavily improved. Now, two effects for you. First of all, if you have a business case that is depending on a long battery lifetime for, let's say, 8-10 years, you don't have to exchange battery. So it starts working. If you only want to have, let's say, 2 or 3 years battery lifetime, you can reduce your cost because one of the most important cost factors in your bill of materials is the battery. So choose a smaller battery. And one tip, especially for your technical experts, think also about non-IP. That's about saving volume, data volume, per transferring. It's only on the air interface. You can do that. Come to us. We are very happy to talk to you about that possibilities. Okay, next one. As mentioned, it's about low cost. Now, coming back to that aspect of simplification that we had with the slow data rates. By doing that and leaving away components that are not absolutely necessary for an IoT device like diversity, we are able to reduce the costs. In the end effect, it's compared to a GSM GPRS model, it's simpler, and therefore it will be more price efficient. And also, we will be able to lower the connectivity costs. One aspect that's very often underestimated is the license spectrum. Now, when we talk to our customers about NarrowBand IoT, and we're doing that now for quite a long time, it became very obvious that the license spectrum is one very important point. Why is it like that? Because it's exclusive for NarrowBand IoT. It's in our bands, it's licensed, it's 900 and 800 megahertz. We manage that spectrum. Now, that is a major difference to our competitors in unlicensed spectrum. In unlicensed spectrum, everybody can transmit data. Now, the more and more devices that use the unlicensed spectrum, the more and more is the risk rising for collisions and the problem that you can't transmit your data. If you want to do a long-term business, it has to be sustainable. So just imagine you're sometime in the situation where you're forced to exchange the technology that you put into your devices after some years. We analyzed that, we took a good look at the competitive solutions, and we decided for one of that reasons with licensed spectrum for NarrowBand IoT, there are some more. For that reason, it's future-proof in the end, and that's important about business. Another aspect, when you ask our competitors, is bidirectional communication. Now, of course, they say they have bidirectional communication, and for the uplink, it's totally okay. But what about the downlink? So, in the unlicensed spectrum, you're regulated by the duty cycle. And that means that even a simple acknowledgement for messages that you transceive to the server, it's very difficult for them to support that. We, on the other hand, are not limited in some kind of that, so we have really bidirectional communication with a real downlink. NarrowBand IoT was standardized by the 3GPP. Now there's a whole amount of mobile network operators doing trials on NarrowBand IoT, preparing launch for NarrowBand IoT, or as we have launched NarrowBand IoT. Now that is important because it will be and is a worldwide available technology. It's a standard that you can use everywhere in the world. And with the standard, it's compatible in different mobile network operator networks. So just if you compare that to your smartphone, you go somewhere else in the world, you will be able to communicate with your smartphone. That's the same for NarrowBand IoT. And because the mobile network operators do NarrowBand IoT, they bring in all the experience that they have from 2G, 3G, and 4G, and for the upcoming 5G. We all heard about the attacks of IoT devices that brought them together to a botnet. Now, security is something that is really important for you, and it's important for us. For that reason, we said we will take over the LTE-based security. And there were no compromises on that aspect. So finally, NarrowBand IoT is designed for billions of devices. We are able to support 100 times more devices per cell compared to GSM. Now, this number is huge when you talk about billions of devices, right? And it is huge. On the other hand, it's also about simplicity, and that's a charming thing about it. I want to tell you a personal view on that, on NarrowBand IoT. Last year, the first NarrowBand IoT networks based on the standards were developed. And last year, we had the first communication modules on the standard. So I took one of the communication modules, connected that to my Arduino, connected on the other side a temperature sensor, and I went home, set up a server, put XAMPP on that, developed a small app, and with that I was able to measure temperature. Now, I can tell you officially, it was hot in my office in June, thanks to NarrowBand IoT. But coming back to the most important topic about that, I did that on a weekend. And I spent a lot of time with my family besides. So it was really easy and simple, because the use of the technology is simple. And that is one takeaway that I would personally like to add on that characteristics of NarrowBand IoT. All right, let's come to the next point. What's new? We launched NarrowBand IoT in Germany in June, and we are very proud about that. But also, our colleagues from T-Mobile Netherlands launched NarrowBand IoT in June. The rollout in the Netherlands was started in March, and they achieved the countrywide coverage with NarrowBand IoT in May. With that, they were the first mobile network operator in the world to have countrywide coverage with NarrowBand IoT. Now, the rollout in Germany also started in March. We went on with the rollout in different regions. Now you can see a list here of cities and regions that we support already. It's Berlin, it's Cologne, it's Düsseldorf, and many more. And we will continue with the rollout in the year 2017 and 2018. End of 2018, the rollout on all base stations will be largely completed. Now, the very important message in that is we are rolling it out on all of our base stations. If a base station is near your device, the indoor coverage will be much better. Besides of all the ideas and technologies and improvement we put into the technology itself, it's a question of proximity. And as far as we know, we are outreaching the number of base stations or gateway, however you call that, our competitors by far. So this will be a sustainable solution for you. It will be available, and you can use that for your devices. And we have the first packages for you. So in order to test it and get first experienced, we did 2 packages. First of all, it's an access package. We call that NarrowBand IoT Access. With that, you get 25 SIM cards, and you can use it in Germany for 6 months to experience NarrowBand IoT. Data volume is inclusive, and you get an APN for that. This one costs 199 euros. There's a second one, and that's also very interesting because we combined NarrowBand IoT with our device middleware platform, Cloud of Things. Now, if you want to be very fast, it's very easy to take that solution to try out NarrowBand IoT because everything that you need is there. The server side, the application environment, everything is there. You can use it, you can experience that, and you can try out applications with NarrowBand IoT. Okay, but this is for testing. If you want to go one step further and you want to go for a commercial business with a huge amount of devices, please come to us. The conditions for that depend on the amount of connected devices. It is depending on the amount of data volume that you require and on the runtime of the contract. So here is the contact. Please come to us. We are very happy to talk to you about the possibilities with NarrowBand IoT. And also, we have here the contact of our Dutch colleagues and the website where you can contact them. Now, keep in mind that in Netherlands, we already have rolled out the network in the whole country. So please come to them, talk to them, and they're very, very happy to see what they can do together with you. Additionally, we started a prototyping program called Prototyping Hub last year. We also presented that Prototyping Hub program in a webinar, so if you would like to take a look at that, please check our site on YouTube. Now, the idea was to support companies to develop solutions together with us for NarrowBand IoT. And we did that last year, and a lot of good solutions came out there. So probably there's one solution that might be useful for you in your product. Please contact us, and we can sort out if that works for you. With that, we did pilots already. Additionally, we did trials together with customer. And finally, because it was very successful, we said we'd do a second edition of Prototyping Hub. The name for that is Manager NB-IoT. And down there, there is a contact if you are interested to learn more about it. Now, we also presented NarrowBand IoT on different fairs, but probably the highlight happened this year on the CeBIT. Our CEO, Tim Höttges, presented NarrowBand IoT to Angela Merkel, our German Chancellor. So we're very proud about that it got selected and it was shown to Angela Merkel. And the charming thing about that was the use case. It was a beehive that you can see here in the pictures. And that beehive is controlled and measured with NarrowBand IoT. Now, NarrowBand IoT helps a little bit to improve and make the world a little bit better because bees are very important for our world. Okay, this is already the translation to use cases. And I want to show you some of the use cases selected out of the huge amount of use cases that are available for NarrowBand IoT. So here you see some of them. It's from smart lighting, metering, construction, equipment monitoring, parking, waste management, smart buildings, asset tracking, and many, many more. Just keep in mind, most important thing is that the use cases fit to the characteristics of NarrowBand IoT. And in the end, I found out that nearly every vertical can be supported by NarrowBand IoT. Now, all of the use cases that I selected here, we do together with our customers. One of the use cases I really like most is a smart metering heat because it shows just the potential of NarrowBand IoT. So with that, you're able to do remote measurement of heat consumption in apartment houses, and with that, you can provide the billing for it. There are millions of devices out there, and NarrowBand IoT is a technology that can really support that use cases. In the end, it reduces labor costs, and it also increases convenience to customers. Just think about in former times when people came to your house, you had to make an appointment, and you had to open the house in order so they can get in and read out the meters manually. Now, this is transferred with digitalization to the new world. NarrowBand IoT is one technology that really helps on that. Next one is railway surveillance. We do that together with a company from the Netherlands. Now, what is it about? We will measure the temperature of railway. That's important because trains can only go on that railways if the temperature is in a certain range. If it's too hot or if it's too cold, trains either are not allowed to go or they have to go at a lower speed. This can be measured with a sensor and then equipped with NarrowBand IoT. What is there today? What are they doing today? Today, people are going along the railways and they measure per hand the temperature of the railways. Here, NarrowBand IoT helps. And it improves the reliability of the railways and also helps to maximize the capacity where you can run with the trains on the railways. Next one is a smart parking use case. So in this case, a sensor is equipped with NarrowBand IoT. It measures, first of all, if there's a car parking over the sensor, and with that, it can transport that information to a server. Now, drivers can be informed if there's a free parking lot on the street. And that certainly helps, that it is easier to find a parking lot, so it reduces the stress level of the driver. But on the other hand, if you have in mind that in cities, a lot of the traffic is caused by cars searching for a parking lot. Also, the traffic can be reduced tremendously. And that helps that the environmental pollution is reduced. It's good for the environment. Now, our next use case that I would like to present to you is a logistic use case. And also, again here, we're talking about a huge number of connected things, about containers, about pallets, and logistic goods. Now, most important information usually is the position of this good. So if you know that position, you can optimize your routes. You can, of course, avoid losses. And if you equip your containers with additional sensors, it also helps to improve the quality of your transport. So we have customers that, for example, have to ensure that the cold chain is kept over all places and times. You can measure that with a simple sensor. It's connected via NarrowBand IoT to the network, and you can transport that information to your server. So overall, it's about reducing logistic costs. It's about ensuring quality. And I'm personally very convinced that this is a great use case, and we will see it a lot of times with NarrowBand IoT. The last use case that I selected for you is a use case about smart lighting. Now, it's about ensuring that the right amount of light is at the right time at the right place. If you can do that, you can save a lot of money for the cities, because the budget of a city is very much strongly, I have to put it the other way, cities pay a lot for electricity. Now with that, with NarrowBand IoT, you can reduce that cost, and that is interesting for the cities. We do pilots with a smart lighting company and with cities, and this shows the potential of NarrowBand IoT. So to sum it up, there's a huge amount of use cases. There are very surprising use cases, as the beehive that I told you before. There are very straightforward use cases with a huge amount of devices, and it's all IoT. And now NarrowBand IoT really supports these use cases. Okay, let's come to the promised outlook for our plans on NarrowBand IoT. First of all, we have talked about that. We have launched NarrowBand IoT in Germany and in the Netherlands. We're very proud about that, and we really sped up. And thanks also to all the standardization guys who really did a great job to bring that standard, and later on, thanks to all these guys who made that network available. But our plans go on. We plan to start the rollout of NarrowBand IoT in 6 further NatCos by the end of the year. But maybe the biggest point that I want to point out, and the message that I want to give to you. Now, up to now, NarrowBand IoT was mainly supported by Europe and by China. Up to now, the US said it's going to support Cat-M. Okay, here are the news. T-Mobile US, they finished and completed their live network tests with NarrowBand IoT. And T-Mobile US plans to support NarrowBand IoT in 2018. This is important because the US up to now was a gap on the map for NarrowBand IoT to have really global use cases and global reach. So from our perspective, NarrowBand IoT will be the mobile network for mass volume Internet of Things. We at Deutsche Telekom are convinced that NarrowBand IoT is the right technology, and therefore we really push NarrowBand IoT. And we hope that NarrowBand IoT is the right technology for you to connect your products and devices. So we're really looking forward to talk to you and hope that we can do that very soon. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And if you want to have further information, please watch our webinar. Please come to our webpage. It's shown there on the screen. And follow us on LinkedIn, Sing, and Twitter. Thank you very much.